What if I told you that the world's most dangerous drug lord once lived in a prison that had a soccer field, a nightclub, and a jacuzzi? A place so luxurious that inmates called it Hotel Escobar instead of a jail? This isn't some Hollywood fantasy. This is the true story of La Catedral, Pablo Escobar's private five-star prison fortress. A place where the king of cocaine turned imprisonment into the ultimate power move, complete with rotating beds, artificial waterfalls, and his own personal army of guards. Today, we're stepping inside the abandoned ruins of the most extravagant prison ever built. We'll explore how Escobar negotiated his way into this golden cage, what life was really like inside his mountain fortress, and how a place designed to hold the world's most wanted man became the stage for his most audacious escape. By 1991, Pablo Escobar was trapped. His narco-terrorism campaign had turned Colombia into a war zone. Car bombs exploded daily in Medellin. Politicians, judges, and police officers were being assassinated. The Colombian government was desperate for peace, and the United States was breathing down their necks, demanding Escobar's extradition. But Escobar had one fear that trumped everything else: American prison. He famously declared, "Better a grave in Colombia than a cell in the US." So when the government offered him a deal, he saw his chance to turn the tables completely. In 1991, Escobar struck what might be the most audacious surrender deal in criminal history. The terms were simple, but shocking. He would serve a maximum of 5 years in prison. He would face no extradition to the United States. And here's the kicker: he got to choose the location, design the facility, and select his own guards. Think about that for a moment. The world's most wanted criminal was essentially allowed to build his own prison and hire his own security team. It was like asking a bank robber to design the vault and choose the guards. What Escobar built on that mountaintop defied every concept of imprisonment. La Catedral, as it was officially called, earned nicknames like Hotel Escobar and Club Medellin for good reason. Let me paint you a picture of what this prison actually looked like. Escobar's personal quarters featured a king-size circular bed that could rotate. Literally a pleasure room with a rotating bed. His bathroom had a jacuzzi tub where he could soak in comfort while supposedly serving his sentence. The compound had its own nightclub. Yes, you heard that right. A fully functional discotheque where Escobar could throw parties whenever he wanted. There was a fully stocked bar with his favorite liquors, because apparently even drug lords need their happy hour. For recreation, there was a billiards room, a private gym, and a full-size football field. This wasn't some small exercise yard. This was a complete sports complex where Escobar could host matches with professional players, but perhaps the most surreal feature was the giant dollhouse he built for his young daughter to play in during visits. Even while imprisoned, Escobar was the doting father, creating a fantasy playground on prison grounds. The luxury extended to every detail: marble floors throughout the facility, an artificial waterfall cascading down the mountainside, chandeliers that made the place feel more like a palace than a penitentiary. And then there was the telescope. Positioned on a balcony overlooking Medellin, this high-powered instrument allowed Escobar to watch his family's residence from miles away. He would talk to his daughter on a cell phone while literally spying on her through the telescope. It was the ultimate symbol of how unrestricted his life at La Catedral really was. Here's where the story gets even more twisted. The entire compound was surrounded by 10-foot-high fences topped with electrified barbed wire. But this wasn't designed to keep Escobar in. It was to keep his enemies out. Escobar handpicked his own guards, loyal sicarios who manned watchtowers and gates. These weren't government employees. These were his personal army, ensuring no police or rival hitmen could get close without his permission. The prison was equipped with motion detectors, pressure pads, cameras, and 1,400 remote-controlled steel doors. It had better security than most government facilities. But all of this technology served one purpose: protecting Escobar, not containing him. Inside, he maintained an arsenal of weapons: AK-47 rifles, grenades, thousands of rounds of ammunition, even rocket launchers and body armor. This wasn't a prison cell, it was a war chest. So what was daily life like for the world's most pampered prisoner? Escobar was technically the only inmate, but he was never alone. Every week, a constant stream of visitors arrived at his mountain retreat. Friends and family, cartel associates, corrupt officials and politicians, beauty queens, and prostitutes. Anyone Escobar invited was allowed through the gates. The prison guards, being on Escobar's payroll, didn't just look the other way. They actively facilitated these visits. Lavish parties were commonplace. For his 42nd birthday, Escobar had some of Medellin's top chefs brought in for an extravagant banquet. He even held a wedding on site, turning La Catedral into an event venue. But Escobar's true passion was football. He routinely invited professional soccer players to his high-altitude compound for friendly matches. In one incredible instance, just before the 1994 World Cup qualifiers, all 22 players of the Colombian national team visited La Catedral for a game. Escobar's men served as referees while prison guards acted as sideline waiters, literally serving drinks to soccer stars. Picture this scene: Colombia's national team playing football in a drug lord's private prison while armed guards serve refreshments. It sounds like something out of a movie, but this was Escobar's reality. Meanwhile, using his phones and fax machines, Escobar continued directing cartel business. He managed his multi-billion-dollar empire as if nothing had changed. At its peak, his operation brought in an estimated $60 million per day, controlling roughly 80% of Colombia's cocaine trade. The Colombian authorities largely turned a blind eye. Their priority was stopping the urban warfare, and as long as Escobar stayed in his prison, they tolerated the charade. For about a year, this surreal arrangement held. But in mid-1992, Escobar made a fatal mistake that would bring his luxury imprisonment to a violent end. A dispute over money led the drug lord to torture and kill 4 of his own lieutenants inside La Catedral. These weren't just executions. They were brutal torture sessions that proved Escobar felt completely untouchable. When news of these killings leaked, it was too much for even the Colombian government to ignore. The optics were devastating. The world's most notorious criminal was literally running a torture chamber inside a state-sanctioned facility. On July 22, 1992, just 13 months after his imprisonment began, officials arrived at La Catedral to transfer Escobar to a regular prison. Colombia's Vice Minister of Justice, Eduardo Mendoza, personally came to inform Escobar of the transfer order. Escobar's response was predictable and terrifying. He took the vice minister hostage and threatened to kill him on the spot. This standoff prompted the Colombian military to surround La Catedral, leading to a firefight between Escobar's guards and the army. But Escobar had been planning for this moment from day one. What happened next revealed the true genius of Escobar's prison design. While the military engaged his guards in a firefight, Escobar executed a pre-planned escape that had been built into the facility from the very beginning. A section of La Catedral's wall had been constructed with intentionally weakened mortar. At the critical moment, Escobar simply kicked open the wall and walked out into the night. According to his brother, he had even stashed weapons on the hillside during construction, anticipating exactly this scenario. Think about the audacity of this plan. Escobar had negotiated a deal to build his own prison, lived in luxury for over a year, continued running his criminal empire, and then escaped through a wall he had designed to be breakable. He had literally built his own escape route into his own prison. By the time the smoke cleared, the world's most notorious drug lord had vanished into the mountains, leaving behind a humiliated government in a facility that stood as a monument to the corruption of power. What followed was one of the largest manhunts in history. A special police task force called the Search Block, aided by U.S. Delta Force advisors, mobilized 600 elite troops to track Escobar down. For 17 months, he evaded capture, moving between hideouts across Colombia. But his luck finally ran out. On December 2, 1993, Colombian forces caught up with him in Medellin. Escobar was killed in a rooftop shootout as he attempted to flee on foot. His death ended the reign of the Medellin cartel, But La Catedral had already become a symbol of how wealth and power could corrupt an entire system. After Escobar's escape and death, La Catedral was abandoned and fell into disrepair. Looters quickly descended on the compound, stripping away anything valuable. Fixtures, marble tiles, bathtubs, wiring, even sections of the roof were pried away for salvage. There were persistent rumors of hidden cash buried on the grounds. Treasure seekers literally tore the place apart over the years, digging holes and demolishing walls in hopes of finding Escobar's lost fortune. If any money was ever found, it was never reported. For much of the 1990s and early 2000s, La Catedral's ruins sat empty on the hill, a grim tourist curiosity. Then, in 2007, something remarkable happened. A group of Benedictine monks from the Santa Gertrudis Monastery reached an agreement with the government to take over the site. The once decadent cartel haven was reborn as a place of repentance. The monks converted the crumbling prison into a monastery and a senior living home for poor local retirees. They constructed a simple chapel, built small residential cottages, a library, workshops, and even an ecological walking trail on the grounds. One building now houses a home for elderly citizens who cannot afford care elsewhere, cared for by the monks. In a nod to the past, the monks also established a memorial to the victims of Escobar's violence. For several years, a massive mural of Escobar behind bars adorned one of the old prison walls with a cautionary message. Those who don't know their history are condemned to repeat it. The mural has since been removed by the monks who prefer not to glorify Escobar's memory. Today, visitors who trek up to La Catedral can see an extraordinary transformation. The site is peaceful and reflective, a far cry from its wild heyday. Remnants of Escobar's compound still exist amid the new spiritual structures. You can see the cracked marble floors, the foundation of the old discotheque, the rusted goalposts of the soccer field, and even a plaque marking the pleasure room with the rotating bed. These eerie reminders stand as testament to one of the most audacious episodes in criminal history. La Catedral has become a literal example of swords turned to plowshares. What was once a five-star criminal hideaway is now a humble monastery. The story of La Catedral reveals something profound about the nature of power and corruption. Here was a facility that represented the complete breakdown of state sovereignty under the pressure of organized crime. Escobar's imprisonment was never about justice. It was a calculated tactical retreat that allowed him to trade the genuine legal jeopardy of American courts for state-sanctioned protection in his own country. The fact that he could negotiate such terms, live in such luxury, and ultimately escape through his own design shows how immense wealth can literally purchase legal immunity and physical sanctuary. But perhaps the most important lesson of La Catedral is what happened after Escobar's death. The transformation from a symbol of criminal excess to a place of healing and remembrance shows that even the darkest chapters of history can be rewritten. The monks who now tend the grounds have ensured that La Catedral serves as both a warning and a promise. A warning about what happens when crime becomes more powerful than the state, and a promise that redemption is always possible. The story of Pablo Escobar's private prison is more than just a tale of criminal excess. It's a window into a moment when one man's wealth became so vast that he could literally rewrite the rules of justice itself. La Catedral stands as proof that in the narco world, the loudest bosses don't always win. Sometimes the most patient and calculating criminals can turn even imprisonment into a victory. But it also shows that no empire, no matter how powerful, lasts forever. From luxury prison to humble monastery, La Catedral's transformation reminds us that history's darkest chapters can become sources of light and hope. But there's so much more to Pablo Escobar's story that most people never hear about. The secret vaults filled with billions in cash, the network of tunnels beneath his estates, and the treasure hunters who are still searching for his hidden fortune today. If you want to discover what investigators found when they finally opened Escobar's secret vaults and why some of his billions are still missing, click on this video right here.